you for joining our webinar today. I am Kim Rayfelt, Director of Marketing and Public Relations for AMAG Technology, and I'm your host today. Our webinars are designed to provide updates on what is new with our Symmetry Security Management System and our services, and also with AMAG as a whole. We also provide an overview of Symmetry's unique features and benefits and help you differentiate your company from others when you partner with us. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, I invite you to type them into the Q&A box, and we will address as many as we can at the end of the webinar. Remember, this is a 30-minute webinar, and we will follow up with any questions that we did not get to after the webinar when I send out my thank you e-blast. So today we welcome a first-timer to the webinar, National Account Manager, Jonathan DuPont. Jonathan will be talking about Symmetry CompleteView 7.3 and sharing the exciting features found in the video management system. And then I'm happy to welcome back Jeff LeBlanc, our Vice President of Client Services and leader of our Professional Services and Training Department. This time, Jeff's going to give us an update on the Training Department's 2023 initiatives and goals and how that will help our customers. And as always, I will wrap it up with a very short marketing update at the end. So AMAG Technology offers a robust, unified, and open security platform that empowers businesses to effectively secure their facilities, meet compliance, and have peace of mind. While access control is certainly the foundation of what we do here at AMAG, the Symmetry Security Management System also includes video management, which is what we're going to be talking about today, identity management, analytics, mobile credential solutions, visitor management, and intrusion. Our solutions also help our reseller channel and end users solve security and compliance challenges. The Symmetry Security Management System, along with our ecosystem of best-of-breed technology partners, operate together to provide a complete solution for you. All of our webinars are available on our YouTube channel, which I invite you to subscribe to. Now it is my pleasure to hand it over to Jonathan DuPont, who will talk to us today about Symmetry CompleteView 7.3.
Hello, everybody. Like Kim said, my name is Jonathan DuPont, and I'm here to talk about what's new in Symmetry CompleteView 7.3. Before we do that, though, if we can go to the next slide, I just want to make sure everybody has a base understanding of what Symmetry CompleteView is so we can understand why the new features are as exciting as they are. So for those of you that don't know, Symmetry CompleteView is AMAG's video management system. It's a feature-rich video platform providing unmatched deployment, simplicity, and scalability for applications of all sizes. The big things I want you to keep in mind, though, about the system overall is it's easy to use and easy to deploy. We're talking about a ton of feature enhancements today, but most things in the software can be done in 3 clicks or less. It's got an open architecture. The number of cameras you can use with it is growing every day. It's an expansive list, and we'll talk about how it just grew with the release of 7.3 later on. It's a unified solution with AMAG Symmetry Access Control, allowing you to view your video and your access control from a single pane of glass. And then dynamic resolution scaling is the secret sauce of what makes Symmetry CompleteView tick, and that's compressing bandwidth as it goes across the network, making sure that IT folks stay happy with you for using this video system. And then the final thing I want to point out about CompleteView before we get going with what's new is that it can be standalone or an enterprise solution. It can be 1 camera to an unlimited number of cameras. It all just depends on the environment that you're looking to put it into. But that being said, let's go ahead and focus on what's new. Next slide, please. So what's new in Symmetry CompleteView 7.3? Today, we're going to talk about a handful of different things, from the ability to move cameras to web views, motion detection performance enhancements, enhanced playback, ONVIF enhancements, and a gap finder utility. A lot to cover in a short amount of time, so we're going to go ahead and jump straight into the next slide about moving cameras. So one of the cool features, and this is a usability enhancement for CompleteView 7.3, is the ability to move cameras without disrupting the system. You now have the ability to move cameras up or down in the list without losing access to existing recordings, as well as the ability to delete cameras without impacting cameras below that in the list. In past versions of CompleteView, if you wanted to move a camera up, say camera 32 was one you'd been monitoring for a lot of activity in the day, and you wanted to move it up to camera 1, because the way the identifier was done, you would lose all of the recordings for that camera when you moved it to camera 1, and the presets would go to that of camera 1, even though you were still viewing camera 32. Now with the new identifier on the back end, one of the enhancements that was made by development, you can move any camera anywhere on the list and you're not going to be jeopardizing the recordings or the other cameras and what they're recording or their presets. Another nice thing is you can delete cameras in the middle of a list without everything after it being effective. Again, the way things used to work, if you deleted a camera, it was going to change the protocols for all the cameras below it because they moved up in the list. With that new unique identifier we talked about, that's no longer an issue. So again, just a great usability feature, an enhancement in 7.3, the ability to move cameras to make your system interact the way you need it to in real time, and you can do things more efficiently. That's the first feature we have today. And if we go to the next slide, we'll talk about web views. Web views is my personal favorite feature added into CompleteView 7.3. And with this, it's your ability to take an HTML5 website and integrate it into the CompleteView desktop VIC client. It can provide a single pane of glass experience for any analytics or other systems you want to use in that previously you would have been in the CompleteView video software, but you had to jump out to look at your intrusion. You had to jump out to look at your advanced camera analytics. That's no longer the case. You can now actually use HTML5 websites as a camera view in the software. So we can view our brief cam sensors, our iron unit analytics. We could view our intrusion system if that was something we were interested in, all from the single pane of glass within the desktop client, and actually interact with them as well. Another use case for the web views is bringing in news, weather, and other information for emergency responses. Say that you're monitoring an outdoor event and there's a tornado in the area. You could have the weather channel integrated in, view where the tornado is, and make safety calls while monitoring your cameras in real time and the weather channel in real time, all from the CompleteView GUI. You could also use it for news or other things like that to do real-time response. And you can even record the HTML5 web view alongside your video so that you have that additional data source for, hey, this is what was going on. This is the information we had from this news source, from the weather. This is what we were seeing on the cameras, and this is why we made the decision that we did. So really, really cool tool to integrate more information into the CompleteView system and really put all of the power that you need at your hands. The final thing I want to touch on with web views is that it is permissions-based, like a lot of things we do here at AMAG. We believe not everybody should have access to every feature because things can go wrong. So for example, I'm a big baseball fan. College World Series is on. Kim didn't give me access to the web views because she knows I would have just thrown on ESPN to watch the College World Series games instead of monitoring the cameras. So you can make it so that different people can pull in web integrations or web views where others can't, really making it so that your system is always designed for its intended use and nobody has the power to mess that up that shouldn't. Next slide, please. The next thing we're going to talk about is motion detection performance. And this is a huge time saver and eventual cost saver that came out in 7.3. So with this, what it is, it's a backend enhanced algorithm to improve motion detection performance. And we do that in two different ways. We do it through Smart Search and we do it through live video motion detection. Through Smart Search, which is the graphic on the far right of the screen, you're seeing a 40% improvement in search times through Smart Search to pull motion events in 7.3. What that means is less time reviewing the video to find the event you need and more time focusing on that event in your investigation. That could be a huge return on investment for security organizations, that you're spending 40% less time to do the same amount of work. You guys now have more time freed up to go forward with the investigation and not just pull the video. The really impressive part of this to me, though, is the nearly 30% less CPU being used on live motion detection. So what that means is, again, we're making the system less tax on the server, less usage on the server, so that not only can over time you start to use smaller servers with minimum requirements, but also you don't have to worry about the server burning out as fast. And so it's one of those things where the system is operating faster, it's an enhanced operation, and that's going to lead to a great thing, but that's going to become a great thing for your security platform down the road. Next slide, please. The next thing we're going to talk about is enhanced playback. There are enhancements all across the video playback in the system for more responsive and faster performance, regardless of where you're doing video playback. But what I really want to focus on today is the timeline search. And in the timeline search, we're going to focus on scrubbing, which is your ability to go back, scroll through the video and see what you want to see, the accurate timeline positioning, and the enhanced GUI, making it easier to use from the timeline search. So if we could go to the next slide, we'll start highlighting some of these features. The first thing you see in that top left corner is more prominent controls for date and time. A lot of the time, the feedback we got was, hey, look, I'm going through the timeline search. It's a useful tool. I don't know what data I'm looking at exactly. I don't know where I am. And so we made this a more prominent selection that you can go up. You can select the date you're seeing. December 12th, 2022 is what we're looking at 12 a.m. And you can set that time and it's customizable. So you know exactly what video you're looking at because you know roughly when the event that happened. You just need the exact video from all your camera feeds to be able to show that story of what exactly happened. And then as we move to the bottom of the screen, the seeker remains centered for easier scrubbing and seeking. So now we set that time up top. That time we set is going to be in the exact center of our timeline, and we're going to be able to scroll forward and backwards to find exactly what we need. And we can do this on up to 16 cameras at one time in this view. And you can even export and trim the video from this view as well to help with your investigations. So a much cleaner user interface here, but that's not all we did. We have a lot more to share about this. So next slide, please. The timeline and seeker position remains synchronized. So you're going through your video, you selected December 12th at 12 a.m., but you start to scroll. That timeline's going to scroll with you now, not a feature that happened in the past. You knew where you started, but you didn't necessarily know where you had ended up. So everything's going to remain synchronized to show you exactly what you're looking at. You can also set a custom zoom level for the display of the timeline you're looking at. So right now we're looking at 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. on the bottom of the screen. Say I know exactly what I'm looking for happened between 12 and 12:30. I can zoom in and click a more granular time to try to figure out exactly when it happened on my search rather than going through that block of video. So really, really helpful tool there, again, for the customizability of how you do your investigations or your video playback, but it's much, much easier to use. And then there are two more enhancements I want to focus on the next slide. And those are the adjustable jump interval and the play and reverse play. So that play and reverse play, you now have the ability to watch video backwards. Say you jumped to a point in time, midnight was the end of our event, we can watch the video backwards. We can go on, see what was happening, and get to where we need to be for the start of that video. Really helpful tool. Again, just a clean user interface. The adjustable jump interval is really helpful for those longer investigations, though, where it may not have just been an isolated event and you're looking for the build-up to the event that happened. You can set it at an adjustable time interval, anywhere from a 5-second skip to a 1-hour skip. So if you're analyzing 30 minutes of video, a 5-second, 10-second skip might be plenty to jump ahead of, okay, nothing happened in this 10 seconds. Let's keep jumping 10 seconds until we see the person we're looking for come into play. If you're doing 10 hours of video, you obviously don't want to be skipping by 10 seconds. So maybe 30 minutes is a more appropriate length of time there, so you can skip in 30-minute intervals. Again, customizable there for the investigation that you're doing and exactly what you need it to be, but really, really easy to set up, really, really easy to use. So that's it on the enhanced playback. If we go to the next slide, we'll talk about the ONVIF camera analytic enhancements. And so there's a lot to take in here, and a lot of it's not on this slide. So with the ONVIF enhancements, you can more accurately pull events from ONVIF cameras, and this includes an additional 120 cameras that support was added for with the release of CompleteView 7.3. We talked about how open the platform was and how much it could take in at the start. 120 cameras added with this new release. So with these ONVIF analytics, you can take event descriptions that'll show detailed metadata, a new feature to CompleteView. You can add custom event aliases, something we'll touch on a little bit more. And you can even search by those aliases. So the screen you're looking at right now, this is a screenshot from CompleteView 7.3. We're in a specific camera. And what you're seeing on that left-hand side where it says new event enable checkbox is every analytic that camera can take in. You can turn on or off for if you want your system or your CompleteView system to be monitoring for that. So if you want person detection, you can turn that on. Motion detection, you can turn that on. Or you can turn them off if it's not applicable to the camera. You don't need it recording for a person. You just want it for motion. Absolutely, you can trigger, or you can make it so that only that'll trigger a recording. As we move to the right, the new alias columns are a really cool feature. Every camera manufacturer has different jargons that they use. A lot of manufacturers have different jargon that they use, and organizations have different jargon that they use. With this alias, you can make sure that your organization's jargon is standardized across every camera with every event. So an event may show up as motion detection. You guys might just use the term motion because detection means something completely different in the business. You can set it so that alias is going to be motion. And at every search function, you can search motion and all of those alarms will pop up. You're no longer tied to just what the camera manufacturer wanted it to be, just what we wanted it to be as the developer of CompleteView. It's your organization's customized tool now, and that'll make it easier for onboarding people, training them, making sure everybody's on the same page and searching down the road. Then the final thing I want to talk about on this slide is the change to record trigger. More customization here for what you can do. You can choose each event and exactly what it starts recording on. So for example, a motion alarm, you obviously want to start recording that video on motion. That's what we have it set to. A person detected, you might start recording on motion, but it's better if the metadata identifies that as a person and you start it there. So again, just customizable on the ONVIF analytics side for what you want your system to do and how you want it to be set up. A really cool enhancement in version 7.3. And if we can go to the next slide, we'll talk about the last major enhancement in 7.3 that we're going to go over today, and that's the gap finder utility. This gap finder utility, great for systems where the video is recording 24/7. With this, it gives you more insights into alarms, motion, and continuous recording than just watching the video would, and in a smaller amount of time. It's a report that can be scheduled to identify alarms and gaps within your system. And what a gap is up to you as the end user or as the integrator. A gap could be 1 second, it could be 5 seconds, it could be 10 seconds, it could be 20 seconds. And so it'll show you that you had a gap in your continuous video recording. And the reason that's useful is in environments like a data center, like a bank, or in utilities, where for compliance or contractual reasons, you have to have constant recording. You can see, look, on camera 1, we've got a 20-second gap on May 3rd. What caused that gap? Why did it happen? Was it network outage? Was it something wrong with the camera? And you can proactively start to troubleshoot your system to make sure that there are no unexplained gaps and that you don't have gaps moving forward. So a really, really helpful tool to make sure you stay in compliance with everything going on in your system and all the contractual requirements you have. You can also search across different recorders and across different versions and export your results into a CSV file. Really, really powerful tool. One of my favorite features of 7.3, and so I wanted to point it out to y'all today. So I know we just went over a lot in 7.3. So as we go to the next slide, I'm going to sum it all up for you of why Symmetry CompleteView VMS and why Symmetry CompleteView 7.3. Here at AMAG, everything we do is designed around 3 pillars, and that's risk, cost, and compliance. We want to mitigate risk while increasing compliance at the lowest total cost of ownership. And we'll start there on the left side of the screen and work our way across. On cost, we talked about a bunch of value savings today, whether it was saving time in your investigations with the enhanced GUI or taxing the server less, eventually needing minimum server requirements to decrease through the enhanced motion. Mitigating risk, we're going to do that in a ton of ways. That gap finder utility proactively does that. But also you can do it in your investigations to see when things are going on with that news up on the WebView platform. So a lot of ways to do that. And then increase compliance. Again, risk and compliance always tie hand in hand. But with that compliance, the gap finder utility can ensure you stay compliant for contractual obligations. And the system integrated in with your access control system can make sure that you're securing all of your assets with visual verification and providing an improved incident response. So again, why CompleteView? It's something you can trust. It's easy to use, easy to deploy, and it's going to make sure you mitigate risk and increase compliance. That being said, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Jeff here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Some big shoes to fill. Thanks, Jonathan. Very exciting developments and a very important topic there. Today, I'm going to touch on training at AMAG and why we think training is so important and some of the things that we're doing in training in 2023 and, you know, what we do in training day to day. Training at AMAG is extremely important due to the complexities of our applications, right? Symmetry, the best part of Symmetry is that it's very configurable. One of the more daunting things when you're getting going or trying to maximize your resources in your security operations team is configuring Symmetry and making sure you do that in the best possible manner to match your day-to-day operations. So you can go to the first slide, please. So what do? We deliver specialized training and specialized technical and application level training to channel partners and customers. So very important there, right? So we cover aspects that will make subject matter experts in your specific role, whether it's in the field or whether it's within the application itself, or even to IT partners. I think that's, you know, if you look at the way the world is going nowadays, it used to be typically integrators and end users who are in a security department. We've now seen a big shift with IT departments taking on the management of the infrastructure of the access control and video systems and different security applications that might be installed. So we tailor our trainings to hit both the IT folks, the end users, as well as the technicians in the field. We're real-world technical training to help installers to achieve maximum performance installing and configuring Symmetry systems in the field. And, you know, I'm almost going to skip to my last bullet, which says leave all participants as subject matter experts in their respective jobs. So really the goal of what we're trying to do is make sure that the information is consumed very well and very thoroughly so that can then be shared, especially from an integrator perspective. You may have a certain integrator that typically will do some of your installs, maybe Symmetry installs, but there will be times where you'll need to bring in other technicians, and you don't always have the time to get that certification done. So by building subject matter experts within these dealers and integrators, we're really able to help kind of maximize your resources so that you have a subject matter expert that can share that knowledge amongst their colleagues. Application level training to help operators and system administrators maximize the performance of their security operations teams. And notice I didn't say maximize the performance of your Symmetry system, right? It's kind of a buzzword there. This is if you configure Symmetry properly and configure the different applications that Symmetry offers, you will maximize the performance of your team. And that's the most important aspect of what our training department does. Customize end user training tailored to their workflows and day-to-day operations. So we have many customers that will request the operator or the manager or the essentials training for them so that they become subject matter experts within their own security operations teams. And so we've done it for a lot of our major customers where we do a lot of homework before the training to make sure that we're not giving the generic, training. We're giving training that is specific to customer workflows. So that can all be arranged through our training department. Each student is given access to a full video and document library to help with future needs. So I think the most important thing, right? You go through a whirlwind of training, whether it's 48 hours, whether it's 4 days, and then all of a sudden you're left off into the wild. And so it's really important to have access to some of the material and some of the information. And I'll get more into what we're doing in 2023 to help with that. And leave all participants as subject matter experts in their respective jobs. And that's when we'll go through the different types of training and why they're geared towards those different kind of role holders within an operation. Next slide. How do we do it? We have over 100 years of experience training in the IT and physical security industry. That's across 5 resources that work in our training department. Technical expertise. Our trainers are technical and application subject matter experts. Passion for our customers. The trainers work hard to ensure the content is fully absorbed and understood by all participants. Next slide. And what are we doing in 2023? The biggest initiative that we're working on is moving from a very manual installing software on the participants' PCs, mailing out hardware, things like that, to 100% virtual training environments. No more clunky software installs. AMAG provides a fully virtualized training environment in Microsoft Azure that gets participants up and running in typically less than 15 minutes, and participants can then have access to the environment after the training has been completed. Certification in 3 to 4 days. My goal for the department is to get everybody out of that training class within 3 days. Now that depends. If you're really consuming the information, if you're really engaged, you should be able to get out of the training in 3 days. It has always been 5 days. It is now at least 4 days. And again, we're trying to go for 3 days. Obviously, nowadays you cannot spend 5 days locked away from work and emails and your day-to-day job. And so we're very mindful of that. So the essentials training is down to 3 days. On-demand training beginning in Q3. So the operator course will be the first training course that we move to a full on-demand. So you will just watch the videos, take the test with no instructor-led training there. And then installation shorts. So for those of you that, look for videos that, how-to videos, golf swing videos, right? Everything's down to 30 seconds to 2-minute snippets. And we're doing short videos to cover specific aspects of a physical field installation. Next slide, please. The training offerings is the Symmetry Essentials course, which is the backbone that gives you everything from getting Symmetry installed to getting nodes and readers wired in the field, things like that. The Symmetry Manager course, which is all about configuring and administering your Symmetry system. The Operator course, which is how to respond to alarms, how to manage card holders. Symmetry M4000 panel. So there's some very specific technical knowledge that you must have when you're deploying the Symmetry M4000s, and that is covered in a course that we offer. And then we have multiple Symmetry advanced topics, clustering, and there's more to come this year in terms of Symmetry advanced courses that you'll be able to kind of take on your own and at your own time. So again, you won't have to be locked away for 3 to 5 days consuming a bunch of information. It'll be a very specific topic that you sign up for, and you'll be in and out at your own leisure in probably 24 to 48 hours. Next slide, please. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Kim Rayfeld, please.
Thanks, Jeff, for that great update on the training department. And thank you, Jonathan, for the wonderful overview on CompleteView 7.3. So next slide, please. So to complement and support our Symmetry CompleteView 7.3 launch, we have an updated brochure that highlights the software features in the video management system. And we also have a brand new datasheet that covers all of the CompleteView hardware that we offer, including all of the powers. We got Power Choice, Power Pro, Power Plus, Power Ultra, Power Platinum, Power DOS, and the Guard Station Quad. You can find all of these on our website under amag.com/video or on our resources and downloads pages. So, and of course, then this webinar will be posted on our YouTube channel shortly, probably within 24 to 48 hours. So if you ever need a refresher or an overview, I highly encourage you to go to the YouTube channel and rewatch this. I also encourage you to contact your sales representative for more details about 7.3. So it looks like we are at the 30-minute mark. So we've run out of time to take questions. But as I said before, any questions that we get, we will answer in the thank you e-blast that will go out here shortly. So thank you to Jonathan and Jeff for presenting on today's webinar. I hope you come back soon and we haven't scared you away too much. And thank you to Jamie, who is making sure everything is running smoothly behind the scenes. If you have any questions about Symmetry, please reach out to your AMAG sales rep and they can set up a meeting or give you a call. As always, this full webinar and previous webinars are on our YouTube channel. As soon as we end this webinar, a short survey will pop up in your browser. Please take a minute to fill that out so we can always make sure that we are delivering the best information to you as possible. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you'll join our next webinar on July 18th. Watch your inbox for details. Thanks again.